New York?
New York Fashion Week.
Just New York.
We're just coming off of New York. We just
Right.
got back. We had a great trip. It's much more, we used to be, how long did it used to be that we would be there?
Well, back in the day when I feel like I would travel in the week for castings and then the week of the shows. So I would be there for 2 weeks. And then you would come in once the show started.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Why?
Probably because models were young.
Yeah, the girls were younger.
And there was more days of fashion. It was a bigger deal. It was a bigger calendar.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like we set a standard at that point. So we just kept doing it for all the years.
I know. I guess we didn't reassess. But what happened this year, that it's so weird when you do something for so long and it's just your life. Like the calendar rolls around. We're like, it's Fashion Week again. It wasn't until we were driving. Where did we go? Where were we leaving when we were on the way to JAG? Do you remember? Oh, we were leaving Coach.
Yes.
So we had a guy debut at Coach, which is another great story. We can talk about that in a little minute. But when we left Coach and we're on the way to see, we love to go visit the agencies because the relationship with them and building a model is so important.
Yeah, they're partners.
They're partners.
Yeah.
And friends. We've been doing it so long, they're friends. And when we were driving to JAG, we've always said, oh, it's 36. This is our 36th consecutive New York Fashion Week.
Right.
But it hit me for the first time, what?
But I actually think it's more because consecutive, I see.
It is more.
Yeah.
Which I want to talk a little bit about. It is more because we started before.
Yeah.
Like it's actually, if you go back, it's 28 years.
Right.
Because Ashton Kutcher.
Right.
That is.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Daniel Weber at Marc Jacobs.
I do too, but was that before Ashton Kutcher? I was trying to remember.
No, that was after.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it was also, I remember I printed out a photo that I took at Marc Jacobs' show with Daniel Weber of Daniel.
Yes.
And it was, the file size was so huge because it was like my first digital camera. So the file.
That's why.
That's crazy.
So we've been participating for 30 years.
Wow.
Because it was before, let's think about this, Morgan Quinn from Iowa was before Ashton Kutcher.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because...
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. You're right.
You discovered me. Was it before or after Ashton?
Before.
Right. So I started the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all because of you.
Without me, there'd be no anything.
Well, I was already doing it. I'd already placed a few. I had placed Sarah Olsen.
Yeah, but you didn't even know anything about collecting commission.
I know. I just wanted to
placed the model.
I just wanted to have shows at the mall and put pictures on my wall. That's all that I wanted to do. That was it.
Right. But there's a little part of being a mother agent that you left out.
I know. Thank God. God had to go. I need to send Jeff to help you keep it together.
I need to send the perfect human being.
So anyway, it hit me, though, that consecutively for 36 seasons or 18 years, because I went back, when our life changed, when Karlie hit, and we'll talk a little bit about that from that point on, which I think was 2007, I don't know, I calculated it, but 2007 or 8, or maybe it was 2007, but it was the 2008 spring, whatever.
Yeah.
From that point on, we have, as a small mother agency, small but mighty, we have not missed a Fashion Week season where we didn't have at least one, but more often than not, I would say we would have maybe 3 or 4 models walking, and then we've had a few where we had like 7 or 8 or 9 a season.
Yeah.
But I never put the 2 and 2 together that it was consecutive until we were on the way to see Gary. And then when we talked about it with him, we talked about this podcast and how he was really excited for us and that he wanted to listen and watch and that he felt like we have a lot to say. We've gotten that feedback a lot, which is great. But I also love that when I said I had this epiphany and I just realized, I said, I don't think there's any other mother agent in the U.S. that could say that. And he said to us, I don't know if there's another mother agent in the world that could say that. And maybe I don't know if that's true or false.
Right.
But I think it was a nice acknowledgement of the body of work that we had.
Yeah. I think a lot of times, like in my head, I have to remember the body of work.
Yes,
so like
you do.
The individual things.
Which I think that's the whole concept of the model business, and that we have an earned place, and that when we, in this past year of just life, have said, how do we contribute more to this industry or make our mark in new ways, that part of the model business is this podcast. Because even today, I had a situation with a model that we're developing, and just the questions that she was asking in her text was the reminder that she still doesn't understand how this works. Or this past weekend, we had Mother Model Weekend. We had models here. And when they start to ask the questions, you realize that's why the longevity of us being there throughout all the stages of the career, because it takes time.
Yeah.
So to New York Fashion Week. I love this. So my first time ever, and I know you're going to have a lot to say about this, the first time that I ever got to go to a show in New York Fashion Week, and I love to tell the story, was 1997. It was July. It was when there was Men's Fashion Week in New York, which was, it's not that way anymore, but it was that way.
They have Men's Day now.
Yeah. They had Men's Fashion Week. And I just think that time in the men's modeling world, there were great models. There wasn't as many, but they were like incredible guys. And I had taken Ashton. We were at this model convention, and I don't even know who invited us. I feel like it was Wilhelmina. I don't know who it was. I don't even know who we were there with, but we were invited to go to a show. It was the first time that I'd ever gone to a show in New York. It was Calvin Klein,
Right.
which is huge. I remember it was the first time that I rode in a freight elevator in New York. Now we've done it a million times, but the first time, and it was a packed freight elevator, and it was, and it was me and Kutcher.
Not me.
I remember Rosa.
Invited.
Just wait. I remember that Rosa, I think, was in the elevator. I think there was people from Wilhelmina. There was just a lot of the people in the business were in that elevator going up, because we were going up, we were going up as audience. But the way that it happened is every agency in the world wanted to represent Kutcher. And they said, come to this show. And they said, you and Ashton can come to the show. Well, then he was Chris Kutcher still.
Right.
And I remember going, can we get one more person come? Because at that time you were a model.
Right.
And do you remember what you wore?
I didn't go.
But
I wasn't invited.
You didn't go with us, and then
No.
why did I feel like you were there?
No, I was not there. I wasn't invited anywhere. Not even in the car ride.
Oh my
Where the
God.
hell here? I was there.
You were there. Yes, you were there in spirit. Well, anyway, we went. I remember what Kutcher wore. I remember Kutcher had on clothes from Wright Stock
Oh, yeah.
in Iowa City,
Yeah.
thrift store clothes. I remember I had on a black dress from Yonkers department store. And this is the kicker that I will never allow myself to forget, is that I was wearing Payless shoes. I remember the shoe. It was like a sandal. But that didn't even seem weird to me. because I was just this woman from Iowa. It seemed perfectly normal, but in hindsight, it was like, I guarantee you, I was the only person in that show that was wearing Halo shoes. But we watched the show. I remember the show was so beautiful. Jason Fideli, Charlie Speed, who were some of the Mike Campbell. It was like they were like supermodel guys.
They're like male models, like what you would think a male model would be.
The other time, remember we went to the party at Clear. I don't think it was this time, but I remember we went to
It was with Owen Beasley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was discovered by Ashton Kutcher with us.
Right. At the Chicago.
Taste of Chicago. We discovered a guy. That's the second time. So fast forward to now. So I go to the show. Kutcher walks in Gene Meyer. Then he went on to walk. He went to Europe. He walked, because we placed him with Why Not, right? He walked.
By fax.
Yes. We were placing models with our fax machine.
I remember every day coming into the office and there'd be a stack of faxes.
I know, from all around the world.
Yeah.
Somewhere I have that file. But you know how that paper was weird? But I could never throw that file away because everybody is like, I wonder if it's that kid, Ashton Kutcher. Wow. But and then we got to see the videotapes of Kutcher walking, because it started that he was on like House of Style or Fashion TV. Somehow it showed up.
Fashion TV.
Yeah. And then I remember we would record it on a VHS tape so we could show people that.
Video fashion.
Yes. Oh, that was so great.
Wow.
Those were the days. Okay, so fast forward. Kind of a cool thing about the Fashion Week that we just did was we had Riley Beth, who we'll talk a little bit more, but she walked in Ashland. Is that what? Or Ashton? Beautiful show.
Beautiful.
She also walked in Alexander Wang, and we went to Alexander Wang, and we were backstage.
Are we telling the Wang story?
Yes. We're backstage. This just happened earlier this month. So we go to the show. We're backstage. We're hanging out with her. We spent that day with her. We went to the Coach casting.
Yeah.
We went to Alexander Wang. It was an old bank. It was in a cool, almost like kind of round. It was a cool space. We're upstairs. It was a 7th-floor walk-up to backstage. And where the models lined up were in a stairwell. And it's like, people think that it's all glamorous. Those models were in a little stairwell. So we're upstairs, we're hanging out, we leave. We're like, let's leave and come back, because you're backstage a long time. We go backstage. We're like, let's take the elevator, it's quicker. We literally, there's 4 production people on this old elevator. That bank is probably 200 years old.
Yeah.
The kind of elevator with the creaky, we should have known. 4 dudes.
Right.
One was like one of the big production guys. And then 3 of them were whatever. They were great. We got to bond with them a little bit and you start joking about when
Yeah. So the elevator was
small.
And in Europe, they have the weight, you can see the weight.
Yes.
And so many times throughout the years, I would get on the elevator and the thing would go, and it would make a noise
And they would all look at Jeff and go, can you get off the elevator?
And so I would get off the elevator, then it would work. And so I made the joke that, watch us get stuck. And
he literally makes a joke.
And everybody looks at me.
Everyone's like, ha, 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 ha. It closes. We start going down, and it stops. Then he's trying to manually. This is all very manual. This is not high-tech elevator. It goes click, 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 click. They all have their productions, so they have walkies and phones, but they're like, we're stuck on the elevator.
And we're not sure what floor, but we're in here.
In front of us was the gate and a concrete wall. And then, but up a little bit and a little bit higher, it was like a metal. And the one young guy,
He had a pocket knife.
he brings out a pocket knife and starts unscrewing. It started to feel a little nervous when the one guy said, I just want to make sure that there's oxygen flow. When somebody starts talking about oxygen flow, you start to go, this is not good. And then long story short, the one guy goes and he's trying to take the metal wall down. We can hear everybody upstairs now going, they're stuck. We hear a siren thinking it's connected to us. But the long story short, we were in there for probably 20 minutes, and I would say 10 minutes in, because the one guy next to me, I felt like he was getting a little nervous.
I thought you were getting nervous.
I wasn't. I was in my head just praying. Yeah. And the one guy would go, are you good? Yeah. This guy was really nice. Then the French guy was like because he's like the leader. And I say, hey, would it bother anybody if I prayed? And all of you instantly were like, yes, or no, please.
Please pray.
So then I wish I could have recorded it. I pray. I'm like, thank you, God. You're going to get us out of this elevator. We have nothing to worry about. I do the whole thing. At the end, all of you guys together, it was so cute because it was like the tough guy and the American cool guy. And then there was the French guy who was like leading it all. And then the guy next to me that seemed a little nervous, and you all go, amen. And then it wasn't long and they fixed it.
Yeah.
But it did start to be like.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of like when I was in, I think, Milan, and I was leaving Lanvin or one of the shows, and they had those metal things, and you always think in your head that you're
I forgot about
do
this.
something. At least I do. Like,
yes.
And so I was thinking that I was going to knock over all these things and like ruin stuff.
And backstage, I mean, outside of shows, particularly in Europe, there's people everywhere, tons of photographers. And
so it was the same feeling, like watch the show's going to like be delayed because Jeff and Mary are stuck in the elevator. Oh, man. It's like being stuck in the bathroom in L.A. at that party that one time.
We did get stuck. It's too long a story to go into, but the long story short is we were at Christina Aguilera's house at a party because our daughter toured with her as a dancer, and we're invited to this private party, which I can't even go into. This private party was just an experience. But because there was a theater downstairs, so we go down to watch the music video. Everyone goes up, and then we're like, we need to use the restroom. So we go into the bathroom together, and somehow we get locked inside the bathroom. And we have to call Tiana and go, this is your parents, and we're locked in Christina Aguilera's bathroom. Can you come rescue us? We do get in predicaments.
Yeah, that's funny.
But it always makes it adventurous. So this past Fashion Week, we had that. We also had a really cool experience. A year ago in November, Ashton and Myla are in Florida, I think. And they send us a picture of this kid. They're like, our friend's son is beautiful. I think you want to see him. We see his picture. Like, he is beautiful. It's 2 weeks out before tribute. We're like, we talk to the parents. We're like, you should come. We'd love to have you walk in tribute. He comes, instantly fits in. His mom is fun. She's like helping backstage and pitching in and doing all the things. And one of the agencies that we work with, Supreme, instantly fell in love with him, placed him, had done some different things. But while we're in the midst of New York Fashion Week, we find out there's an option for Coach, which Coach is this cool show that it's really a cool show to be a part of.
Yeah.
And that was another amazing thing that unfolded as the week progressed.
Mm-hmm.
And we share with people because it's one of the things I think keeps us loving this is that we didn't know at the beginning of the week that was going to happen.
Right.
So when it happens,
it's like every day is brand new. Like,
yes. And
it really is.
Think about him after the show.
Yeah.
And his mom.
Right. It's cool.
It's cool. He was like, he almost couldn't catch his breath. He was like, I can't believe that just happened. It's a dream come true. You're looking at this young kid going, this literally can change the trajectory of what's to come. It changed the trajectory for Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like with everyone, if you just dive in
And don't quit.
it's like,
There's a t-shirt. Dive in and don't quit.
dive in and don't quit. There you go.
Just the best. I'm the chatty, talk, da la la. And he's a
Let's just get to the point.
I love it though. Okay. Then, so what really started to shift for us, the beginning of this 36 consecutive New York Fashion Week started with Karlie Kloss. And I remember sitting with her. I remember that show immediately afterwards, standing outside. I remember we were on a street corner. I have no idea where we were.
Which show?
Her Calvin Klein.
Oh, okay.
When she made her debut. And she looked amazing.
Yeah.
She was probably 15. Was she 15?
15 or 16, I can't remember.
But you look back at those pictures now, and she looks like a baby.
Yeah.
But a very beautiful one.
I mean, I actually looked back last night because I was trying to find, because I was on this whole conversation about my chin and shaving the beard. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm like trying to find like old modeling pictures because I'm like, my chin, I had a great chin. And so I saw some pictures of us, all of us.
Wow.
And I'm like, look, we all look like babies. Like,
Well, I mean,
it's wild to think. I mean, the boys were this big.
the boys were little.
So I saw pictures of them with her.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild. Like, time has like flown by, but at the same point, it hasn't.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
It is. And then I remember the next season, we were sitting with her whole family, and Joel was here, and was Steven here?
I think
It was a team from our agency in New York, and we were sitting at the Webster Groves, or
the country club,
at the country club, and
which felt like a dungeon.
And
I
we
don't
were
know why.
sitting. Oh, I don't say that. They're going to be like, oh my God.
Sorry.
Well, it just seemed a little old school. But anyway, I remember them saying your life's getting ready to change on both levels. Mm-hmm. Her life was getting ready to change. Their family's life was getting ready to change. And so was ours, because you at that point were going to be traveling as mother, agent, chaperone, all the things. And then the family would come and go. And then same with me, depending on schedule. But starting with New York Fashion Week, it just, and then we went through 5 years-ish, where literally every season, every day at New York Fashion Week, but then it would go all the way to Europe. Excuse me, I remember looking at printouts of the day.
Yeah.
Going, okay, tomorrow you have 4 shows, the next day you have 5, and then
7 was the top number of one day.
Then Katie Fogarty the following season. That was like the 3rd season. So I remember Karlie debuted at Calvin. The next season, she was exploding. The following season, we watched Katie Fogarty, who initially was the option for Calvin Klein, but then she went on to do, in New York Fashion Week, she did, what show? We had her do a show just for the experience of it. Jill
Stewart? No, not Jill Stewart. It was Jill Stewart.
What was that show that she did?
Jill something.
Jill, was it? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyway, she debuts at the show. It's at the New York Library. I remember it was a big deal. Then she goes to Europe and goes on to do a bunch.
Yeah.
Which is a different story.
Let's tell the story.
No, let's stick to New York Fashion Week.
Okay.
We have a plethora of stories. We have way more stories.
Too many stories.
Than podcasts. So, but those fashion weeks in New York hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And it was Jason Wu. I remember Jason Wu was like, he was like exploding. And I remember Karlie being in his show and us being backstage. And during that time, I remember going to Jason Wu after we were on Nightline. We went and did an interview as part of Nightline. And then I remember pulling up in a car because they got us a car service to go to Jason Wu. But going in and being like this, it just was whirlwind kind of stuff. And then Grace Hartzel, it started to build that we'd have multiple models doing New York Fashion Week. And the thing that I'm really thankful for, and you start to talk to other people about it, we experienced New York Fashion Week at Bryant Park.
Yeah.
When New York Fashion Week was at Bryant Park, there was this magic about all of the tents, all those surrounding streets and cars and taxis bringing in models. I remember literally arriving at Bryant Park running, literally running to whatever the next show was, dividing our time between the models that we had. And I was thinking about this morning as we were talking, prepping for this podcast. We had such a presence at Bryant Park at that point that we became really good friends with all the security people.
Yeah, showing pictures of kids.
We would tell, how are the kids? Is Bobby back in college? It became this, I never want to forget that was such a unique, it's never going to be that way again, sadly. No. It was just a magical time. And I remember standing backstage after they left Bryant Park and they went to Lincoln Center, and the shows were there. I know, it's just a different experience. It felt very corporate. I remember standing backstage outside, because remember you would stand outside. There were trailers and stuff that were backstage with James Scully, who was just an amazing casting director, who he lived in the time of the 90s and the supermodels. And I remember him standing outside talking to me about how fashion shows used to be so fun. And there wasn't 60 models in a show. It would be half that. And they'd be changing in the back. And literally it was the supermodel days, and how the shows were just fun and festive. And I feel like that's how Bryant Park felt.
Yeah, it was special. I have three highlights from Bryant Park.
Okay, I want to hear.
One was Christy Turlington.
Yes.
Yes, seeing her.
I was a part of that.
Yes,
I was like, Christy Turlington is walking out of her car. Right. It was for us seeing Oprah or something. I don't know. It was a moment.
And then the second one with Heidi Klum. I took a video of.
I remember.
That's how. I was like, oh my gosh. That's
I remember.
And then, interestingly enough, I just saw this man live last night.
Yes,
Lenny Kravitz.
I remember this moment.
Met Lenny Kravitz backstage at Tommy Hilfiger.
I remember it vividly.
And yeah,
Do you want to know what I remember about that?
How hard I hugged him.
I also remember two other things. Number one, it was really rainy, and and I had pulled my hair all the way back in a ponytail, which I never do. Wow. But I was just I'm so over it. So I wasn't feeling like my prettiest self. The second is the minute I knew, I was like, oh my gosh, that is Jeff's favorite human. I have to capture the moment. I remember going, will you talk to, because I went up to my husband thinks you're so great and blah, blah, blah. And I remember touching him going, he had a cashmere sweater on. I remember thinking, this is the softest cashmere sweater I've ever felt in my whole life. And you could feel muscles underneath the cashmere sweater. And he was just so nice. Yeah. And we've been able to have other experiences with him after that was really great. But I remember it. We have a picture of it somewhere. Maybe that was lost on the hard drive.
No, I have it. Of course I have that.
I remember that. I also remember at Bryant Park seeing Diana von Furstenberg for the first time walking in.
But you guys did Wasn't she doing her hair or something?
Yes,
backstage?
but this was separate.
Okay.
My two, that was another. So it was Diana Furstenberg. That was a moment for me. I met Jennifer Hudson backstage, but that was later. That wasn't at Bryant Park. I also got to meet Diane Sawyer, which those were quite. But what was my other moment? Oh, one of my favorite moments backstage, and it was at Bryant Park. It was at the tents, I remember. Diana Furstenberg was there. They were showing. We've been at a lot of her shows, but this particular one, I remember her being backstage, and she literally pulled out of her bag. She was like doing her own like hair and makeup backstage, and she pulled out her hairspray. She was doing what every woman does, but something about me sitting there. I remember Katie Fogarty and her mom were sitting there too, and I'm watching Diane Furstenberg pull out like Aquanet. It wasn't Aquanet, but something similar. Just fixing your hair, just being a normal human. And that's why so much of our most wonderful memories at New York Fashion Week and beyond have been backstage. The other moment, Lincoln Center Fashion Night Out. The cool thing that they did when they moved shows to Lincoln Center is they did this big fashion night out. And this is what the whole city was electric.
Yeah.
Karlie was young. She was linked to Teen Vogue.
Oh, yeah. And they had the branded cars and everything. Yeah.
She was in a branded Volkswagen Bug
Yeah.
with the top down.
Yeah.
And looked so cute. And rode with her mom. Then we went to where backstage was, because remember they were shooting all the supermodels.
Yeah, it was under the ground.
Yes, and I remember seeing Giselle Bundchen for the first time, watching her interact with everybody, being just like the most delightful human ever.
They were doing portraits, I think, or
They
something.
did portraits of everybody. They did portraits, and Naomi Campbell. It was all the superstars because they were in that show.
Yeah.
And I got to sit by in the audience. What was the model? Lauren Hutton.
Lauren Hutton.
Seeing Lauren Hutton, literally sitting by her. I remember she had on a suit and sneakers. I'm like, you are so chic. I was looking at her. She was just the most naturally beautiful human. I also remember going to a little fashion show with Katie Fogarty in it, and we ended up being able to sit, and we sat directly behind Anna Wintour. Do you remember this? And I remember sitting and looking. It's like, here's me, and here's Anna Wintour, and I'm literally directly behind her, looking, going, that is a very tiny waist. I remember looking, thinking, you're an adult human woman with a teeny tiny little waist and her little perfectly coiffed hair.
I have something that might be weird to say, but I was sitting with you.
Yes.
And I was noticing all the same things.
You were? Okay, great.
Except I noticed her elbow.
Really?
Yeah, I thought her elbow was pretty. And I think elbow is the weirdest thing ever. But I remember the elbow.
And it's funny that you didn't say it to me, because you tell me everything.
I was waiting all these years to say it on the podcast. Apparently.
You want to know who else was at that show? And I was like, it's Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
And she was so beautiful.
That was in her, was it Tom Ford days? She was really connected to Tom Ford.
Yes, and she was so nice, because we've been also backstage where there's celebrities that are very friendly.
Right.
She was super nice, I remember. So Lincoln Center, then I was thinking, I love that Calvin Klein is back. I hope that Calvin Klein continues to ascend back, because back in the day, some of my favorite experiences to New York Fashion Week. Number one, Calvin Klein would do 2 shows back to back. It was in the Calvin Klein, like their studio, their space. I love that Calvin Klein is back. I hope that Calvin Klein continues to ascend back, because back in the day, some of my favorite experiences to New York Fashion Week. Number one, Calvin Klein would do 2 shows back to back. It was in the Calvin Klein, like their studio, their space. And I remember they always had like really nice catering. They had like little champagne things, and they had like beautiful little hors d'oeuvres that they would pass. And we had Ryan Mertz and his parents. I love that we find this guy in Woodsville, Missouri at a pep rally. He debuts at Calvin Klein. His parents, his mom and dad, are backstage. And they're like Woodsville parents going, what is this Calvin Klein thing that we're at? And then here's their son. And those moments are special.
Yeah.
And then Karlie, was there anybody else Calvin Klein that you can think of off the top of your head? I know we've had others. I just can't remember who that would be.
I don't know. I mean, those two were like special.
They were really special.
It was like exclusive.
Yes. My other show that I loved in New York that's no longer, that was so great, was Donna Karan, because Donna Karan would also do it at her space.
Yeah.
So you'd be upstairs, that's backstage, and it was light and airy, and you can walk outside, remember? It was beautiful. Yeah. And then you'd go down, and I always loved her clothes. And I remember you and I were sitting next to Patrick Demarchier, famous photographer, and Faith.
Okay.
I remember this so clearly. In the early days of Karlie's walking on the runway, and I remember him saying, I discovered her. That's my discovery. And I'm sitting there going, excuse me. So of course you're not going to say that to Patrick Demarchier, but I remember it going, it's so funny. Yeah. But he did have a profound effect on her.
I mean, it's the whole thing.
It's all the things.
There's levels to this. There's steps to it.
Yeah, that's true.
We're in our roles. We're that first step.
Yes.
So then we partner with someone else to take it to the next step.
True.
And then they have to partner with this person to take it to the next step. It's like there's steps to it.
And in the ideal dream world, you all stick together and you go, we created this together, and we're going to stick together, and we're going to sing Kumbaya and go, yay.
In the perfect world.
And it does happen like that sometimes.
It does. And it's very refreshing when it does.
Yes, and it's also an advantage to the model because it's magical. That's why I love watching the Oscars and the Emmys when they can go, we've been building this together as a manager or whoever for 20 years or whatever. Okay, other few things before we wrap. Another great first season was Alanna Arrington.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I love about her story. She had been modeling for a while. She was a teenager. She was getting ready to turn 18, maybe 17. She was a senior in high school, and at this point, you could still do them.
Mm-hmm. She was the last.
She was a grandfather.
She was. Her and Grace Hartzel were both grandfathered in.
Right, because they modeled 16, 17 years old. So she.
I don't even think you can't really say. I think grandfathered in is not a proper term anymore.
Well, whatever.
I'm just saying.
But I remember that it was Vogue magazine 2018, I think, when they wrote about it, which we were honored to be the mother agent that they interviewed. But anyway, Alanna had been modeling in LA. She had this long mane of hair. We had tribute. We didn't bring in a lot of agents at that time, but I remember Kyle was here. It was
his first. It was when Kyle first came to Next.
Yes. Yeah. So she comes, and there's not even a discussion about her doing New York Fashion Week. And
like we were practically begging.
Yeah, they were like,
what do you think of this girl? Like, can we? Yeah.
So we drive to Iowa, we have a conversation, and we go, get on your fitness, be the best version of yourself. We end up bringing her here. We get her hair cut. Olivia cuts her hair into this cool cut. She's just feeling more and more confident and looking like a professional model. And she goes home. She keeps focusing. 2 weeks later, she comes to St. Louis. We shoot video on her and digitals.
Oh, yeah. We went to Ted's studio.
Yes.
Yeah.
And send them, and they say she should come tomorrow.
Yeah.
And literally flew out on a Friday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The first show she did, she closed. Which one was that? BCBG. The next day was Altuzarra.
She opened.
And I got to be there. I was so excited. She opened the show. That same season, Diane Van Furstenberg was wrapping up it was going to be her last It was like a big celebration
Yeah.
in her headquarters. I remember it was very last minute that she was going to go. She goes for a last minute fitting. And being Alanna at her most confident self, starts dancing around and really engaging with Diane. Oh, you're good.
Well,
It's okay.
Diana wanted, I think she asked Alanna how did she feel in whatever she was wearing.
She did. I remember it was a jumpsuit.
Yeah. So it was like a conversation.
It was.
I think, and this is the manager part of me, like if she wouldn't have responded the way she responded, she would have got the job.
100%, because every other model that was in that presentation were supermodels,
Yeah.
including Karlie.
Yeah.
And big names. There was no new face. And in a very last minute moment, which we're always telling our models, you never know what could happen on a dime. Because of the engagement, she said, I want her in my show. And it over the casting director, over everybody else, because it was John Pfeiffer, wasn't it? I think. I don't know. I think it was John Pfeiffer. And I remember, and then it was all over People magazine, and it literally changed everything in a dime. And it's like what we talked about on Saturday with these models. Live ready. Live ready. You don't know what's around the corner, but if you're not living ready, and we'd done so much preparation and development, and Alanna had put in the work, so she was ready. The other key Proenza shows. We've had some great moments of Proenza. Proenza carried a lot of weight. Kelsey Owens debuted at Proenza, and I remember that being a big deal. Ava Christian 3 years ago in that beautiful, it was another bank. It was in a bank in New York, I remember.
Yeah. And Grace Hartzel, and
Oh, yeah.
she did Proenza.
Yes.
I remember that was a moment because she was under exclusivity with Saint Laurent for all the time. And then as soon as that came off, like she did everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And you think about, yes, which was such a cool moment. And then last September, I feel like that was such a key thing because we knew so much that was going on in our life at that time. And then Riley Beth, a model who'd been with us forever, she did little things in high school, gets her degree, comes back and said, I feel like I could be missing an opportunity and I never want to feel like I missed it. And she comes back, we place her in New York. She walks in tribute, we place her in New York. She debuts at Proenza, which is a big deal. And then we start to hear buzz she may be opening, which opening the show is a big deal. And I remember another situation, it was like another Calvin Klein moment, because they're like, only one of you can go up. And you were like, you go, which was very sweet.
Yeah.
So I got to go.
If I wasn't your husband, I would have been like, I'm going.
You would be like, move over, chick. But I remember last September standing there and realizing that she's opening. And being in that moment, and the way that room was set, it was this huge room with windows all the way wrapping around, and the audience was around the perimeter of the room. So to watch her enter, I was standing here, and she literally did this big. So while I'm holding my phone watching her, all I can think about is how many times Riley Beth drove from Kentucky, came in this very space, would spend the night here. We would work with her on all the different things. Like we'd do photo shoots. She'd walk in tribute. Like you can't, then that mother side comes out where you're like, everything it took Riley Beth to get to this moment. And then opening the show and then being there, like the celebration afterwards, us just being there and hugging her and being like, you did it. Those moments, that's why something like New York Fashion Week is so important. And the last kind of momentous thing that we've been able to experience are Marc Jacobs shows.
Yeah.
We've had some cool Marc Jacobs moments.
Yeah.
The show where Lady Gaga was in it.
Yeah, that was the same season with Grace Hartzel.
Yes. Backstage, they were literally finishing the coat that Grace wore like seconds before the show. The Marc Jacobs show in 2020 we were backstage, and Minnie Warren was making her debut. And it was at the Armory, back-to-back shows. And we were sitting. We're like, let's just hang out here. We're going to sit here. And Miley Cyrus is in the show. And being very Miley Cyrus, she was just like chilling.
Yeah.
She was like hanging out.
I thought you guys were.
I thought we were going to be best friends.
I thought you guys were. Like,
it was just fun. I remember she sat and I asked, it was you know how the Armory's kind of dirty. I was like, oh, you're getting stuff on here. It was just fun to see her interact, and then also for Minnie to debut and have it just be such a magical moment. You met Andra Day backstage. I feel like there was another actress that you loved that we met backstage once.
I'm not sure.
At Marc Jacobs.
I don't know.
I'm like, even just having this conversation, I in my head on this side, like reflecting on all those experiences and stuff. And like you talked about John Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
I'm like, during those times, like, how many times did I get yelled at by John Pfeiffer? You know,
Yes.
but not yelled at, but you know, it's like,
It's just stressful situation
it's stressful,
for everybody.
but it's like, I think that sometimes, like, yeah, we are managing models and helping them through their processes and all this stuff, but at the same time, I think a lot of people forget there's another side of it.
Yeah.
And like with John Pfeiffer, Ashley Brokaw, Anita Pitt,
yes,
Pierre
all the
Giorgio,
casting directors.
like they're under so much pressure.
They are under a
and
lot of
stress
pressure.
too. Like they have to put on a show.
Yeah.
So I don't mind being yelled at.
Right.
Because I mean, I do mind
But
being
it's
yelled
also
at.
a
But
respect thing.
it's a respect, yeah. Because
It
I'm
is a
like,
respect.
like we are trying to do our job the best that we can to get these
Yes.
girls and guys to the place where they need to be on time and
Yes.
whatnot. You know, it's because
It'd be there
like
to keep their heads in the game and all the things.
is like I just want to give it up for casting directors.
I know.
Like honestly,
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. Agency sites, we get briefs and like they're looking for this, and we're doing research on this, and that can be stressful in itself for us because we're
Yes.
like, we want to be successful in this industry,
Right.
You know, but if we don't have what they're looking for at that moment, then we're just
But it's also all the agents, all the behind the scenes people. We have such a respect too for the hair and makeup teams, the creative, even being backstage. I love backstage
Yeah.
because it takes a village. As corny as that sounds, it really does. It's like
True.
what you alluded to, for every model, it takes a team of people. And that's why I think the model business, this podcast is so important. People are fascinated by the industry, but they don't understand all the beautiful nuances of what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that we can share, we've been blessed to have amazing experiences, and we're in an earned place.
Yeah.
We're not just saying we know what we're talking about.
Right.
I think we're realizing that we should.
yeah. But it's
we know.
and I'll keep coming back to it. Like no one gets to a place by themselves, and that includes us.
True.
Like, you know,
100%. We've learned so much from agency owners and mentors and casting directors who are like, yes, or this, or no, and that, or agents when you sit. People don't know all those conversations.
Right.
Like, or being backstage, even this past season, as we went to the coach casting. We're at the coach casting. You see all the new models coming in. You see Ashley and her team, the stuff that they need to do. We're there with our model. All of those things it takes so much.
Yeah.
And that's not even on the designer side.
Right. And also, like, I think that people, what they don't understand, back to the casting directors,
Yeah.
is that if you're requested, those casting directors are rooting for you.
Yes, they are. So
They-
rise to the occasion.
Right. And
yes.
I think it's so funny how models in general get so caught up in their head. They're like, oh, you know, this one and that one.
It's
and
true.
I wish they'd give me a shot and like all this stuff. They've given you a shot.
They have
You're
to
in the
give you a
room.
shot. It's like how when you talk about the reason why that happened for Alanna that day
Yeah.
is she was like, oh,
Yeah.
I have this window.
Mm-hmm.
You better believe I'm going to walk through it. And this Saturday when we did the Mother Model Weekend, I started it from the beginning, and we had a lot of new girls there. And I loved that when I asked the question, you weren't there. When I asked the question, I said, what's the model's number one responsibility? For the one who's been around for a while, they answered out loud. They all said to inspire. And I said, yes. Your job is to inspire. So when you're in that casting, you better inspire that casting director to be like, I want to book you. Mm-hmm. And then when you get in the room and you're working with the designer should want to keep booking you.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, that's great.
So,
That's
New York
wonderful.
Fashion Week, we love you. We do. Don't we, honey?
We do. And
I have allergies. That's what this is. Don't think it's anything more or less.
so
It's my allergies.
I know we didn't
Yes.
talk about this, but
Okay, but do it so then we
for every
should
we
be
got to
on
wrap.
time.
Every podcast that we do,
Oh, Jeffrey.
I just want to end it with this
love
book
that.
that I have. It's called Positive Phrases.
Yes.
Committed to spreading positivity.
Okay.
And this woman, I can't remember her name right now, but
You should remember.
is amazing.
Yes.
And the whole basis of the book is you just open it wherever you open.
A random.
And that's
Believe
what you
it's not
read.
random.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
So today, I just opened it right now.
Yes.
And it says, be the reason someone smiles today.
That's good, honey.
So with that, thank you. And model business out.